So I have to say, RBN was first. We warned you guys about John Fetterman months ago. I still remember the first time I heard about John Fetterman. Someone mentioned like, man, what do you think about John Fetterman? He's a pretty progressive Senate candidate. They're like, what? Who the fuck is that? I don't know who the fuck John Fetterman is. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll take your word for it. I guess he apparently he's like this Bernie progressive guy. And then I looked into John Fetterman for literally 1 minute. And I found, because I usually like, all right, where you stand on, I'm not going to listen to your speeches. I'm going to see where you stand on certain issues. So I remember I typed in John Fetterman, Israel. That's like one of the first things I typed in. And immediately he said, that is an article I pull up all the time. I have a bookmark. I don't have it saved, but I can always find it pretty quickly. I found this article and I showed it to quite a few people. I showed it to a few guests on the show that not just like average guests. I'm talking about like a few people who are politically informed, and they're like, "Oh shit, I didn't see this because no one talked about it." I saw this. It was like the first thing I saw on John Fetterman. I was like, immediately, hell no. And then I put the two and two together because I heard that there was this Senate candidate that is running that pulled a shotgun out on a black jogger. I heard of it, but I didn't put the two and two together that was John Fetterman. And then I remember when he won the primary, then that oppo on him pulling a shotgun on a black jogger pulled up again, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's him!" Are you? I didn't even put the two and two together. Like I knew John Fetterman, the Imperialist, and then I heard that some guy pulled a shotgun. Then I'm like, "That's the same guy."
That was the same guy,
and he designed it. So if it was just to point a shotgun now on a black guy, that is horrific, and that would take a lot of. You got to be amazing on literally every single fucking issue for anyone to excuse that. But combining that with the fact that he's a Zionist, then I typed in John Fetterman, Ukraine. You guys, Google exists. I don't understand how people are tricked by these people. You can literally Google these people policy positions. So I remember I Googled John Fetterman, Ukraine. First thing pulled up, yeah, we got a pledge of support to defeat Putin and fund Ukraine. I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. So he's 0 for 3. Pulled a shotgun on a black voter. He's a Zionist. He supports endless war.
Then, but what's the trade-off? Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, though, Nick. That's it. That's the trade-off.
The trade-off is one Senate vote that will not fucking matter. That Senate vote will not fucking matter. I broke up so many brains on this. Let me ask you guys this question. How many times the establishment really wanted something, and then the filibuster stopped it? So when was the last time the establishment was like, oh, we want to get corporate bailouts, and they're like, oh damn, we can't do it because of the fucking filibuster? When was the last time that our establishment was like, we want to go to war? Damn, unfortunately, we don't got the votes in the Senate. No, nigga, whatever the establishment wants to do, they will do. Anything the establishment wants to block, they will block. You are not going to trick capitalism to reforming itself. Are we clear? So that vote does not matter. I'm just letting you guys know. So to me, with that said, this shit is nothing but a clown show to me. Political theater. That's all it is. Shit doesn't fucking matter. The other channels that tell you otherwise does not. Compared to the goals we were trying to accomplish. Does not. So then I listened to this debate. We know all these things. So John Fetterman like 0 for 4. He also horrible on the issue of policing. So many fucking horrific things. So I'm listening to this debate. And it's playing in the background, and because I'm doing household chores or whatever. And then John Fetterman took it to the next level, and no one is talking about it. So the narrative around the debate regarding John Fetterman and Dr. Oz is John Fetterman had a stroke. John Fetterman, is he fit to serve? I don't know, John Fetterman fit to serve. People vote Democrat, Republican. Nigga will vote for Nancy Pelosi like John Fetterman fit to serve. Nigga will vote for Donald Trump, who is, I cannot understand the motherfucker. And then people will be like, is John Fetterman fit to serve? And so they are purposely filling the air with bullshit. So I'll be 100% real with you guys. If there was a revolutionary running that supported everything that I support, if he had a stroke and he barely talked, I would still vote for that motherfucker. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. And then if anyone who said they wouldn't, they are bullshitting you. they're lying. The reason why the Democrats support John Fetterman because they don't give a fuck. The Republicans will support the same reason Republicans support Herschel Walker because they're like, we don't give a fuck. It's all about power, baby. So if they had someone who suffered from a stroke, they would support him too, and I would too. Let's be. Can we all be honest? If someone supported our agenda, we would support them whether they had a stroke or fucking not.
Right.
So the debate in the election had nothing to do with that. So I think everyone is talking about John Fetterman's performance and his mental acuity. That is the last thing I'm talking about. I am listening to what he is saying. John Fetterman is an unhinged neocon. And I'm listening to the debate and I'm ignoring like John Fetterman slip-ups because it's not relevant. I don't give a fuck. If you guys notice, I may chuckle every once in a while, but I rarely ever cover Biden's dementia. You guys know I don't really talk about that much because there's like 1,000 other things we can attack him on. That's actually not very that persuasive. Like if you're talking to someone who likes Joe Biden and you bring up his mental acuity, that would turn people off. Like people are like, oh, you got nothing else against him. That's why I don't talk about it because it's a weak argument. So if you talk about John Fetterman and you talk about his stroke, it's actually weak because then people will be like, oh man, you're just talking about his stroke because you got nothing else on him. No, that is the last thing I care about. John Fetterman is trash because he is a Zionist. Mm-hmm. And apparently he supports war against China. So they asked him this question. And I'm going to let the video play because I think I'll preface the story enough. They asked him, what is the biggest foreign policy threat in the world? And I'm going to share what my answer would be. And we got a pretty left audience here. Everyone know what a true left answer to this question would be. What is the biggest foreign threat to the United States? Let's listen to John Fetterman. Might as well be Dr. Oz. When you listen to this answer, this is the part where when John Fetterman was like, hey, John Bowen. Hey, Mike Pompeo, you got this? Hey, Don Jr., do you want to answer this question for me real quick? Because we got the same answer. Hey, Mitch McConnell, you want to answer this question about who's the biggest foreign threat to the United States? Do you guys want to see any difference between our quote-unquote democracy? Let's play the video.
Next issue, we will be circling back on that.
Turning now to foreign policy. Mr. Fetterman, what do you believe is the greatest foreign threat to the United States of America? You have 60 seconds.
I believe, is right now is China. I believe China is not our friend, and I believe that we can't be able to push back, and we need to stand against China. And I believe that Dr. Oz has chosen to manufacture all of his merchandise on his name on it in China. Which one of us on this stage is going to stand up against and stand firm against China? And I believe that's our single biggest issue right now, to make sure that we address China and make sure that we know that it's not our friend.
Mr. Oz, what do you believe is the greatest foreign threat?
China is not our friend? CJ, what did China do to you?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Because China ain't the police. China ain't the police. China ain't the Senate parliamentarian.
CJ, did China imprison 1/4 of our the world's prison population? Is it China that kneeling on the neck of our people and killing our people indiscriminately? Is it China the cause of our massive homelessness population? That is 40%. 40% of homelessness is black people, despite us being 13% of the population. Is that China? See, the biggest threat is China. So let me listen to Dr. Oz answer, and you guys see, fucking. But there is no difference here. There's like the Simpsons sketch. The old school sketch with two politicians.
The United States of America. You have 60 seconds.
Let's hear what he said. I don't remember.
The fact that our country is not projecting strength. Take, for example, what we're doing with Iran. In order to try to get them to give us a little oil so we can deal with the catastrophe that Russia has caused, we have gone to them and tried to sign a deal that would allow them once again to have the nuclear power to blow up Israel, which they promised they would do. John Fetterman supports that deal. It doesn't make any sense for America to treat our enemies better than our allies. We have to message with our strong voice.
Once again, I'm asking you guys, what did Iran do to you? Now, to quickly debunk what Dr. Oz is saying, what he's saying is not even true. So Joe Biden continued Donald Trump's hard stance on Iran. So the United States pulled out of the Iran deal, despite the fact that Iran was compliant. And then Biden when they was asked like, yo, this is another Trump era policy that you guys rebuked. You guys said we should get back in the Iran deal. Then Anthony Blinken was like, nah, we're not doing that shit. I'm just like Donald Trump, nigga. I don't give a fuck. And then they got the same policy on Iran, and they did not get back into Iran deal. So for one, Dr. Oz is lying. But let's get back to the China part, because this is probably the most unhinged thing I heard a progressive say thus far. And we covered a lot of them. We covered Ro Khanna, we covered Nina Turner, we covered Pramila Jayapal. But out of all of them, I'm gonna play the China part one more time. Go back to John Fetterman's answer, and let's break it down. China is.
It felt like he intentionally kept saying the word China, like he was trying to impress somebody. Like, look, I'm calling out China. China is a threat. China, like it was like what? Like that's what it felt to me. Maybe re-listening.
So do you guys love our democracy, the thriving capitalist democracy? Your choice is between one asshole who want to escalate war against China versus another asshole who want to escalate war against China. Or, hey, you got a choice. One guy who want to fund the police more, another guy who want to fund the police more. Hey, I know. Make sure we got to vote in our midterm election. One guy want to fund Nazi more. The other guy want to fund Nazis more. Don't you love our democracy?
Right, that's choice. That's a lot of choices.
Let's go back. Let's play the John Fetterman China clip one more time. And let me guys. I'm gonna ask you guys this question as you hear this unhinged answer by John Fetterman. Why? Ask yourself this question: why does the United States consider China a threat? Is China a military threat? No one, even in corporate media, will admit that is the case. When you watch China segments, which I watch quite a few, they will admit that, hey, China's building the economy. They're such a threat. They're forming contracts with other countries. They're such a threat. And remember, we covered this before, CJ. The corporate media will intentionally leave out why the United States viewed China as a threat. They want people to think that China is thinking about invading or challenging the United States militarily. That is not why the United States viewed China as a threat. The United States, listen to me, guys. The United States viewed China as a threat because they implemented market socialism. They nationalized critical infrastructure. And the key tenet of American capitalism for the last few decades, we cannot have another example of a thriving alternative system. And China is the first country since the USSR that entered the world scene. In other countries in Africa, their U.S. propaganda grip has been shattered because they're like, oh shit, we don't have to do business with the U.S. no more. There's another alternative. They're building here. We're not getting bankrupt like when we did business with the IMF. That is why the United States view China as a threat, because they are providing the global working class with an alternative economic model, which is a counter to the full spectrum dominance position that neocons like Anthony Blinken, Tony, apparently John Fetterman, you had all these neocons, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, promote this idea. And that's why they view China. So if you watch any anti-China segment, they are very smart in their propaganda, CJ, believe it or not. Because
let me chime in on that propaganda part.
Go ahead, CJ. Yeah, go ahead, CJ.
Because it's what you're talking about is a specific propaganda tactic, and that's where you leave the audience imagination for what you're trying to describe. So they just say it's a threat. They never define, what do you mean? They're loading nukes. They're doing what? They just say it's a threat. And think about the word they're using, threat.
Yeah.
The average person is going to think of threat as some sort of physical harm to me. That's what that's why they're leaving it open. This is a propaganda tactic to let the audience fill in the fear, and they know the audience is going to do that. Fill it in. It's just the threat. It's like I guess it's like no, I'm not gonna use that example. Yeah, I don't want to be causing. Yeah, but anyway, go ahead, Nick.
Now that we explain, I let it play before, but now that I explained that concept to you guys, let's watch it again, and then you will really understand how nefarious John Fetterman is, because John Fetterman is going along with the strategy of vaguely demonizing China. And let me ask you guys this question. As John Fetterman is going through these unhinged anti-China rhetoric, What threat do you feel in your life that China is responsible for? Let's play the clip.
Have to move on to the next issue. We will be circling back on that.
Turning now to foreign policy, Mr. Fetterman, what do you believe is the greatest foreign threat to the United States of America? You have 60 seconds.
I believe, is right now is China. I believe China is not our friend. And I believe that we can't be able to push back and we need to stand against China. And I believe that Dr. Oz has chosen to manufacture all of his merchandise on his name on it in China. Which one of us on this stage is going to stand up against and stand firm against China? And I believe that's our single biggest issue right now, to make sure that we address China and make sure that we know that it's not our friend.
Mr. Oz, what do you believe is the...
See how many times he said China? It felt like intentional, almost like he had to prove that he's against China. You have to prove to the capitalists, because you have to ask yourself these questions when these narratives are in the air. A threat? A threat to who? Finish the question.
Yes.
A threat to who?
Yes.
There's always these incomplete, because they don't want you to understand who the perspective is for. When they're talking about the stock markets, they ain't talking to me, you and me.
Yes.
They ain't gonna say that. You get what I'm saying? But if you listen to how they're talking to a specific person or people.
Yes.
So you always have to think about the perspective of what they're talking. So finish it. A threat to who? If you ask somebody says that, like Sagar.
You're on point. You're on point, CJ, because that's exactly the point I was trying to get to. When he said China is a threat to, I finished the sentence, capitalism. They're a threat to Western hegemony. They're a spectrum to full spectrum dominance. So I told you guys, I don't care about Xi. I don't care about Putin. We just have a similar enemy. Because I have eloquently made the argument that this imperial system does not benefit us. Our communities are poisoned. Our earth is poisoned. Despite what liberals want to say with their bullshit green agenda, the cause of climate change is the military-industrial complex and the 1%. We are not benefited by this imperial system. At least not us black people. If you are, congrats on the privilege. There are a few people here that are not us. We stand to end this insane full spectrum dominance ideology. Now, this is my tweet, because I want to try to make this argument. I did get a little bit pushback, not serious pushback, because this was my tweet. I said, John Fetterman just said China is the biggest threat to the U.S. He also said that we must stand against China, and that should be a focus. That is what we just covered. These progressives y'all propping up are literally fucking neocons. That has been I don't understand people still miss me with that Bernie 2024 shit. Miss me with the John Fetterman shit. Miss me with this. You guys are literally neocons now. Like, you guys are everything. CJ, I explained this many times. Before I was a socialist, I was anti-war. You guys know that? I voted for Jill Stein in 2016, not because I understood what a fucking eco-socialist was. I had no idea what the fuck that was. I voted for Jill Stein because I saw her call out the war machine. And then I later turned to socialist. So
it's always been a top thing for you. It's always been a top thing for you. It wasn't like,
yeah. I was like, yeah. I remember one of the reasons why I sided for Obama, I was siding for Obama because he was a black man, the first black president, and I thought he was going to end the Iraq war. You guys see that? I thought that Barack Obama was anti-war. A lot of people did. So then when he betrayed that, that's when I was like, nigga, fuck this nigga, man. I was like, fuck, out of here. That what it took for me. So I was like, you're not, the progressive movement, just as Democrats, TY, y'all niggas are not going to trick me into turning into the thing I originally got into politics to oppose. And anyone around my same age, I'm a younger millennial, will tell you the same, who grew up during the George Bush era. So this is I want to explore this topic. A lot of people agree, but I saw a few people say, well, not a lot of pushback beyond. I saw a few people say it's not a foreign threat. Because I said, if you're a leftist and you're asked what is the biggest foreign threat to the U.S., I said any true leftist or anti-war voice will say the military-industrial complex. Meanwhile, Fetterman is fear-mongering over China like John Bolton unprovoked. And that is what shows John Fetterman is trash on that. The question wasn't framed for Fetterman. It wasn't a leading question. Like, hey, Fetterman, tell us why you think China is dangerous. The question was an open question. It was, hey, Fetterman, what is the biggest foreign threat to the U.S.? And everything he can possibly said, he started red baiting, China baiting on top of his head. That would make this the next level bad. That would make this really disgusting because this is an anti-China rant unprovoked, which shows this is what John Fetterman believes. So I also say any true leftist or anti-war voice would say the military-industrial complex. And the reason why I say that, because I see some person said, some people say, oh, he said foreign. You can say the military-industrial complex is foreign. So this guy said, I'm confused on how the military-industrial complex will be a foreign threat. And that's all a few people say that. So let me clarify. And you guys put back on me if you want. The military-industrial complex includes NATO. It includes the giant global imperial and structural system that we are trying to fight. That is why imperialism and capitalism are linked and intertwined. NATO, the national security establishment, the global economy is reliant on U.S. imperialism. The reason why they need to expand NATO and they are willing to risk World War III to do that is to enrich the weapon manufacturing friends like Raytheon who dominate our politics and our culture. So if you're going to ask any leftist, what is the biggest foreign threat to the U.S.? What should your answer be? Your answer should be the military-industrial complex. Because the reason why we are escalating to nuclear war is because the military-industrial complex wants endless war and endless conflict, even if it may lead to a nuclear exchange.
Yep.
So the threat of nuclear war is because of the military-industrial complex. And if I was a candidate, I would say that. I'm like, nigga, get mad if you want, but prove me wrong. Why can't we get a candidate like that? It would never happen in the Democratic Party for one. But we need candidates that will go up there and just say the fucking truth. I don't give a fuck what the polls say. We don't give a fuck about winning because that's not the goal. We're here to boost mutual aid, build a actual movement. That is not what none of the progressives are doing because they are not leaders. They put that letter and retract that letter because they are not leaders. They don't believe in shit. You guys understand? But I'll pass you, CJ. I think I'll wrap my segment there. Anything you want to add?
Yeah. Let me see. What do I have up here? 1 second. Not add to this, John. Actually, yes, there is a small clip I do want to play. Because you know when it's bad for Fetterman. When reformists are making videos that said it was a terrible job. So that's when you know. So this is the title, and he made this right after.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He made this right after the debate. So he made this last night. He was the first one. It says John Fetterman's debate with Dr. Oz may have cost him the election. So I kind of put it in particular. I put it in particulars.
Damn.
I didn't expect this either. And he says many times in his video, he's like, and I'm a John Fetterman supporter every time because he has to keep critiquing him. And he keeps having to qualify by saying, and I'm a supporter. And he's giving his critique.
Of course, this dude's a fucking John Fetterman supporter. So
let's listen to when he gets to the part about fracking. This is where he gets disappointed. Because he points out the parts where it's really bad in the debate. Fracking is another point. You brought up one of the points with China. Let's bring up this is the point reformists are bringing up as bad points of John Fetterman.
Position. And that's not the only question, but it's just one of the most egregious examples that stood out to me. And it was just a disaster. Certainly, I don't think that Dr. Oz came out looking good, but I think he just came out looking better than John Fetterman, given the circumstances here that are really unfortunate. It was difficult to make out what he was saying. Like, he would say things, allude to certain policies or talking points that I know, but if you're just a regular voter and you're not as well versed or savvy, you're not really going to know what he's saying. It was difficult to distinguish what he was saying. On top of that, from a policy standpoint, John Fetterman ran away from basically every single policy position with the exception of the filibuster. So Dr. Oz.
So you hear that's an honest critique. He ran away
Hold up.
from every single poly position. He said that. And
Hold
he's going to
up.
continue. Go ahead.
I'll be real quick. Why you support him then, Mike? So I support John Fetterman, but then he says John Fetterman ran away from all his policy positions. Why you support him then? Are you not asking yourself that question? What? Do y'all not see that?
Because they're part of the same red-blue game. See, this is the reasons progressives don't think they're part of the red-blue game, because for them, it's not red-blue. For them, it's blue, darker blue. They're fighting. So if you say they're the darker blue, and fighting against the lighter blue or whatever color shade, but you get what the point that I'm making is that for them, that's the fight. So he doesn't care, just like a Democrat don't care. I don't care Joe Biden did that. I don't care. I'm voting because Donald Trump. It's the same thing for progressives. I don't care. John Fetterman, he's progressive. He said it.
Literally does not care that he's a neocon. Like, the thing is, throughout the entire part of the stream, we did not bring up small issues. Like,
yes,
your rhetoric on China is not a small disagreement. Your rhetoric regarding NATO and Ukraine, not a small disagreement. Your support of the apartheid genocidal state of Israel, I told him I'm going to start saying that instead of just apartheid state. The apartheid genocidal state of Israel, that is not a small fucking disagreement, no matter how much the white leftists like Mike Figueredo try to convince us. Like, they try to convince us of very important state violence issues that impact colonized black and brown people. And they're like, oh, these issues are very small. Don't worry about the difference between you and Dr. Oz is giant. The difference between you and John Fetterman is small. Like, nah, nigga, that gap between me and Dr. Oz is just like the gap between me and John Fetterman. And that's what they tried to obfuscate about. But go ahead, let's play the video.
That's a great example. Where is that? All right, so let's listen. It's about another minute and a half. We're not playing the whole thing. It's the fracking part I want to play, and then I think I might skip to. He didn't answer. I'll play it later. Hold on.
Oz attacked John Fetterman for being an extremist, and essentially John Fetterman took the bait and he ran to the center, which is just not good at all. So John Fetterman has historically supported Medicare for all. That is essentially socialized medicine. It's where you get rid of private insurance effectively. And he ran away from that, just saying, I want, Medicare for all, or I want healthcare rather to be affordable. He said that.
So he about to list a ton of bad stuff, CJ. And I want you guys to add that you still support him at the end. He like, yeah, John Fetterman ran to the center. That's bad. But you still support him. John Fetterman, man. Right. He don't support Medicare for all no more. But you still support him.
What's the difference than a center or a moderate Republican then? What's the difference? Like a Republican that said, hey, yeah, I think there needs to healthcare. We need to do something about that. Like, but he's not going as far as health, doing that. Oh, yeah, they have a right to defend them two-state solution in Israel. Like, what's the difference? That's my question. Let's continue.
He said the same about colleges. The progressive stance traditionally has been free college. But John Fetterman said, I want it to be affordable. When it comes to the issue of fracking, he's kind of flip-flopped on this. But historically, I actually just thought that he always supported fracking, which is one of the things that I disliked about John Fetterman. But apparently, in an interview that he had with Savage Joy, someone who I actually know, he said that he was against fracking. And this, by far, was the worst moment of the debate for John Fetterman. Let's watch.
You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
Oh, I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman.
How are people who support John Fetterman not embarrassed? Like, how is Mike Figueredo and anyone who publicly supports Fetterman not embarrassed? Like, I would be embarrassed if I publicly put my name on this. Like, if we put RBN name on this, and we like RBN endorses John Fetterman, and he came out with this performance, I would be embarrassed. I would come out with an apology video. Like, nigga, you need to apologize, bro. Like,
let's make sure we understand this. What we're watching here, Nick. the context of what we're saying. She is literally saying, do you support the destruction of the planet? And he's saying, I support the destruction of the planet. I support the destruction of the planet. I support the destruction of the planet because of the oligarchs and ruling class that are listening, all the Oreo people that are listening that's going to fund the Democratic Party. They're listening. So you have to make sure you say that by saying, I support the destruction of our planet. Because that's what you're saying when you're saying I support fracking.
Can I have a conversation with the reformists who still support John Fetterman? Like the Mike figure. He listed all the things that John Fetterman sold out on. He called back. He sold you out on healthcare. And he actually brought up a few things I didn't even know. I don't follow his campaign like that. I actually didn't know he backed out of free public college. Didn't even know he supported it. But the fact that he backed away from it, that's worse than not even supporting it in the first place.
Yeah.
Because that shows that he wanted to sell. Like, it's better to not support it in the first place to then back on it. You guys understand that? So what did that tell you? That tell you that they're flexible in their ideology in order to gain power. This is a concept that these reformists do not understand. So I remember I called out Nina Turner for selling out Palestinians for not supporting BDS. And so many people are like, yeah, that's a flaw, Nina. But why are you guys making a big deal out of it? Let me explain to you guys how election and corruption works. So if you are selling out an issue in order to get elected, what happens when you need to get reelected 6 years later? You're not going to vote for certain things because you don't want attack ads to come after you, and you're going to want to maintain your position of power. So many fucking idiot reformists, the real dumb left, they will say, yeah, well, of course John Fetterman and Nina Turner sell out Palestinians because they have to do that in order to win. Win at what cost? So you're going to sell out Palestinians in order to win because you don't want AIPAC and Jews to go after you, and your Jewish constituency to go after you. But what happens when you run for re-election? So let's say there's a BDS bill that comes up. You're going to vote against that BDS bill so they don't run an attack ad against you for re-election. Right. So John Fetterman, he's not just saying he's against fracking in order to win. He's going to govern as he's going to govern in an anti-environmental way because he's going to run for re-election. So selling out, unlike what a lot of people think, it's not like a small step in, one small step out. It's escalatory. So in order to get there, you have to set out an idea, and you got to continue that in order to continue the illusion to maintain your power. So that's why we got to draw a hard line on these things. But they say, we got to be flexible. We got to have a wide tent progressive movement. That is what they really believe. But let's continue the video.
Absolutely.
Mr. Fetterman.
That was incredibly.
So that's one point. Let's hear him talk about it. And then there's another point I'm going to fast forward to.
This flip-flop here. And again, I didn't know about the flip-flop. But as bad as John Fetterman looked in that portion, he did not look nearly as bad as Dr. Oz looked when the issue.
So I'm going to fast forward.
He still has to do that bullshit, CJ.
Yes.
You see that? So even when he criticizes Fetterman, he still got to do that bullshit where like, yeah,
and it's not even a good one.
But he was like, well, I just let you guys know Dr. Oz is just as bad. Nigga, that's implied. That's implied in our commentary. It's implied in our commentary.
Right. Like, I don't have to say Republicans are bad. That's implied already. Like, I don't have to say that.
Let's continue to your point, CJ. Go ahead.
Let's listen to this point here he makes about something else, John Fetterman, that wasn't a good response.
Reveal or release his medical records surrounding the stroke, and he just has that doctor letter.
Now, I'm not against or for, but why I want to play this is just his simple reaction didn't come off well, and people in the reformist camp are saying this could be something.
Clearing him. His response here, I think, was really bad.
Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have, speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. I believe if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve and that's what I believe is appropriate. And now, with 2 weeks before the election, I have run a campaign, and I've been very transparent about being very open about the fact we're in use captioning. And I believe that, again, my doctors, the real doctors that I believe in, they all believe that I'm ready to be served.
Follow up. I didn't hear you say you would release your full medical records. Why not? You have 30 seconds.
No, again, my Dr. L believes that I'm fit to be serving, and that's what I believe is where I'm standing.
Yeah. When you're a voter and you're undecided and you're watching this and you can tell that he's very clearly struggling to articulate himself, then to see him not want to release his medical records, I think that does raise a question.